So we're out here with Linda, we got Susie, we got Molly over there, and today we're actually going to be trimming the goat hooves. So the reason we're doing this is because sometimes the hooves can become overgrown and it can cause leg problems, pain walking, and obviously we don't want that for our lovely babies. So we come out here and do that pretty regularly. So the rule of thumb is generally like 6 to 8 weeks, but I like to come out here generally like once a month and just check them because they can grow quite fast depending on the goat. Like Linda over here, hers generally grows a lot faster than the rest of them. And we don't want any kind of leg problems or walking problems for them. We just want them to be as happy as possible. So we're out here, we're going to be trimming their cute little hooves and making them nice and happy and healthy.
Okay, so first things first, I just quickly wanted to touch on the anatomy of a goat hoof. Now, if you look straight at it, the middle softer portion of the foot is called the sole, and it's more of a softer callousy type tissue. The harder material lining the sole of the foot is called the hoof wall, and that's generally the portion that's the main part that you'll be trimming. Now, if you look directly at the hoof, the part that comes more to a point, it's called the toe, and the very back portion of the hoof is called the heel of the foot. Now, the main portion of the hoof that you'll be trimming will be the hoof wall and the toe. However, keep in mind that the heel bulb can grow extra tissue also and become more pointed, and that part can actually be trimmed as well. So if you guys look closely at this picture, this is a goat hoof that's in need of a little bit of a trim. This is because the outer walls of the goat hoof are actually becoming a little bit more overgrown, and they're starting to grow inward and curl around the sole of the foot. Generally, what we want to look at is more of a flush appearance when it comes to the sole and the outer edge of the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in there with some clippers and we're just going to trim up the outer hoof wall until it's more flush with the sole of the foot. So what we're looking at in this picture is where the outer hoof wall has now developed an air pocket or a void, if you will, creating a little bit of an airspace between the outer hoof wall and the sole. This isn't generally ideal, and that's because this pocket can create a space where it can collect debris, dirt, and possibly be an area where bacteria can grow and cause some kind of an infection in the hoof. So what we want to do is we want to go in there with our trimmers and we want to trim the outer hoof wall to make it, again, more flush with the sole of the foot, all while trying to remove that void. Now, from what I've been told from people is that you can actually trim higher up past the sole of the foot and try to get that void, that bubble out of the hoof, and that eventually the hoof will grow back. That's a little bit past my comfort zone. I generally like to cut as much as I can safely. And then generally what I found out is that the hoof will continue to grow and push that void down closer to the outer part of the foot. And then at some point you should be able to safely cut it and make it flush again. In the meanwhile, while you're waiting for that hoof to continue growing, you can just keep going in there every few days and just making sure that you're getting the debris and the dirt out so it's not sitting in there, creating a space for bacteria to keep growing. So when you're trimming the goat hoof, it's really important to clean the area of any dirt or snow just to make sure that you have a clear vision of what you're going to be trimming. Now, I also find it a little bit easier when you hold the foot and the hoof closer to the goat's body. I feel like it gives them a source of comfort and they tend to have less kickback and they tend to be a little bit more comfortable while you're trimming the foot. It's also very helpful if you have a second person there with you. First off, to catch the goat, because it's obviously a lot easier to catch them when you have two people because you can corner them. If it's just you, they're just going to parkour all over the place and it's going to take you forever. Secondly, it's really good because while you're trimming the foot, the second person can be standing above the goat, holding them into place, making them feel comfortable, but also making sure that you're safe because then there's less chances of kickbacks, less chances of the goat freaking out. It's going to protect both you and the goat from any possible damages happening. This is just a quick zoomed out clip just to show you guys how it looks like the overall big picture. We do have one person standing over the goat with the goat between their legs, just to secure the goat, make sure that the goat's nice and comfortable and that I'm nice and protected while I'm closer to their feet. And then I'm able to hold the hoof closer to their body to make sure they're more comfortable, and that way they allow you to trim their hoofs comfortably. One other quick thing I just wanted to touch base on is at the beginning of the clip, I did say the average range for trimming a goat hoof is about 6 to 8 weeks. Now, that does fluctuate because if your goats are outside and they're on a lot of rocky terrain, it could be a lot longer than that. If they're out in the fields or if it's winter time and there's not a lot of rocky terrain, to scratch their hooves on and trim them down, wear them down, you might need to do it a little bit more frequently. So I just wanted to touch base on that. That's why it's so important to go out there and just check your goat hooves, just make sure they're not being overgrown, just to be on the safe side there. So just a quick recap, remember to trim the outer hoof walls to make them more flush with the sole of the foot. You don't want anything angled, it should be pretty much even. If the toe of the foot becomes a little bit more elongated or pointy, you can actually trim that down, make it a little bit more blunted. And if the heel of the foot, the heel bulb starts to become a little bit more calloused, raised tissue and a little bit more harder, more of a point, you can actually trim that down too. It's not going to harm the goat whatsoever. It's just going to benefit their hoof overall in the long run. And at the end of it all, just make sure to give your babies lots of love, lots of treats, lots of attention, just so they know that it wasn't a negative experience. Make sure that they had a really good time and that they're really comfortable with you. And then next time at your future times when you have to trim their feet, they're going to be a lot more calm and a lot more relaxed, and it's going to get a lot easier from there. Now, as always, thank you guys so much for listening. Hit a like button if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything. If you have any comments, please comment down below. And if you have any suggestions for how I can improve on trimming our goat hooves, please let me know also. I appreciate any advice. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.